welcome. We're back. It's been a while. We'd just like to say right off the top, thank you for all of you guys that have been shouting out to us through all different types of social media and text messages, asking us where we've been. We do appreciate every concern, and we're glad to say that we're back with a mini shoot tonight. There's been some major changes to our format. Over the next 7 days or so, we're going to be giving all the details out to all of you out there, and we will be back on full production this time next week. So we figured we'd get a little something out there. It's been 2 weeks since an actual show's been up there. Not that we haven't shot one, but that's another story for another time. While we've been on this alcoholic booze binge holiday, self-imposed, we have made some changes, and we're looking at some interesting things going forward, with the I-formation being better and bigger. We've got a Twitter feed now, which is _I_formation at the I-formation. Follow us on Twitter. Lots of great stuff going on there. We're going to give you a quick rundown on this week's games. Next week we'll be back in full format, and including our dingbat. We'll be back. Just hadn't done that for a while. John's pink gloves may make an appearance. Certainly our football, and a couple of surprises that we'll fill you in on next week. So starting right from the top, Thursday night's game, we've got Carolina visiting Tampa Bay.
And I'm a little bit afraid of this one, but I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers, because the Panthers have, at the start of the season I was talking about the Panthers and how they had a great defense. And they're finally starting to play that way. They're top 5 defense in the NFL right now. And they're going into Tampa Bay in the Raymond James Stadium, hard place to play right now, because Tampa Bay is really hungry for a win. And although they did lose to Atlanta last week, they held the Falcons to 18 rushing yards. So that defense is starting to play well. Mike Lennon is not a bad quarterback. They're going to keep this game close. I just think Carolina overall has a more talented team than Tampa, and I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to pick Carolina by a field goal in this one.
I agree. I think it will be close. I think that Carolina will continue to beat the teams that are coming out of Florida. A combined score now, 3 teams in Florida. What do we got? 3 wins. All of them with 1 team. You got 2 teams that are actually undefeated, or 2 teams that have no wins.
And Carolina, if they win this game, go to 4-3, and that'll be the first time in the Cam Newton era that they've been above 500 this late in the season. So
you've been really rooting for them. So
yeah.
Off we go into the Sunday's games. We've got the Giants in Philadelphia to face the Eagles. The return of Michael Vick. We don't see this the same way. I think that's the problem there. It's the return of Michael Vick. My call on this is that Vick really didn't have much to offer this year so far on the field. We saw Chip Kelly's hurry-up offense at the beginning, then we saw Vick go down to injury, as we've seen so many more times before in his career. And then enter Mr. Foles, who sort of put that team back on the map as far as I'm concerned compared to what Vick was doing. I think all is for naught. I think that Eli Manning, with his win under his belt now, that team is not, like I said last week, is not 0-6, an 0-6 team. They're not a 1-6 team either. I think they forge forward, and I think in this kind of a series, this kind of a rivalry, I think the New York Giants win this close in Philadelphia.
I agree it's going to be a close game, and I think that I also agree that the Giants are better than the 1-6 team. However, the Giants still have a poor offensive line. Philadelphia's defense is aggressive, and I think Philadelphia will win this game on defense, on turnovers. And I like Philly in a close one.
But does Michael Vick have football on his phone?
I think Michael Vick's going to have a good game in this one.
We'll see. Next, we've got San Francisco visiting Jacksonville, another one of those stellar Florida State teams.
Yeah. I'm afraid of this one too. Not really. Anyway, San Francisco. If half of the San Francisco players show up for this game, they should win by about 40. I'm figuring.
Yeah, I think they cover the spread.
San Francisco looking good too. They're back. They had a couple of hiccups there earlier in the season, but once again, one of the strongest teams in the NFL. Kaepernick's not so much, but the defense is great.
Sometimes you just need somebody at the helm and let the team do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next we've got Dallas in Detroit to play the Lions. Interesting game here.
It is.
We've got a surging team in the power rankings in the Dallas Cowboys. Everything firing on all cylinders, defensively and offensively. But we've got a very, very strong defensive team in Detroit, especially at home. I think we both see this the same way. This while it may be a very close game, and it may depend on Tony Romo to throw an interception in the last couple of minutes, I think Detroit wins this close, and I think they win it late.
Dallas with the win last week are 3-0 in their division now and set up really to be favored in this division at this point. Detroit is a much stronger team at home than they are on the road. It's going to be, I see a shootout here between Stafford and Romo. And Dallas, of course, held Philadelphia to 3 points last week without DeMarcus Ware. And defensively, they're strong as well. I see Stafford having a big game. I see Reggie Bush having a decent game on the ground, and I see Detroit winning a close one. It's going to be a great game too.
And I love that you're poising Dallas to take this division. I'm just going to remind you all, I didn't pick Dallas to win this division, nor did I pick the Giants to win this division. I think I picked Washington, and I'm going to just categorically say again here at week 8 that Washington is not out of the race, and we're going to just. It'll be interesting to see if one of these teams pushes to the top or implodes on itself. Mm-hmm. Next, we've got the AFC East battle between the Miami Dolphins visiting in Foxborough to the New England Patriots. Both teams have found ways to disappoint their fans this year. Again, I'm still calling this division to be close, and it's actually showing into a 3-horse race now with Miami, the Jets, and just slightly out in front, the New England Patriots. 2 weeks ago, I would have said this was a lock. I think Miami goes in and scares the Patriots in Foxborough, and I think that any team on any given Sunday now that plays well, both offensively and defensively, can beat the Patriots. But I'm concerned after the one-man wrecking show that was Ryan Tannehill last week. I don't know. We thought he was Eli Manning. I really did. He was terrible. He did not hold on to the ball well. I don't know. It was 2 or 3 interceptions, at least one fumble that I saw before kicking my foot through the LCD screen. But this team has got to be played. And you know what? I think they've made some moves now on that offensive line. The pickup of McKinney this week strengthens that offensive line. Whether he's going to be game ready now for Sunday for Foxborough is another story, but it's a huge piece of the puzzle. They've got to play better defensively. They've got to play. They've got to be better with their clock management. Right now, I'm going to give this to the New England Patriots as much as I got to hit myself with the freaking bat now for doing that. But I would like to be pleasantly surprised and lose this pick this week.
Yeah, New England didn't look very good last week. As a matter of fact, the Jets ran all over them. The Jets outplayed New England that game last week. They ran the ball 52 times, ran it down New England's throat. They controlled the clock for 39 minutes of the game to New England's 21. The Jets won that game last week because they were a better team. And now New England is facing Miami, a team that has lost 3 in a row. And in a desperation move, they went out and got Brian McKinney from the Ravens. McKinney has had a little bit of trouble with the law. And
who hasn't, Miami?
Yeah, well, he's a former Miami Hurricane, so he's going to be happy to be going back there. So he may step up and play some good ball, but remains to be seen. He's a big man. He's I believe he's 6'8", 360 pounds, very big man. And last year when the Ravens won the Super Bowl, he was the starting left tackle for the entire playoff run. So he is certainly capable of making a change there. And Miami certainly needs that on their offensive line because Tannehill has been sacked 26 times, more times than any other quarterback in the NFL.
Including Ben Roethlisberger.
I think that I still say New England at Foxborough is going to be too much for Miami to handle. I hope I'm wrong.
Me too, me too.
I'm going to have to pick New England to win this one.
Okay. Well done. Buffalo goes into the Big Easy to play the New Orleans Saints. I don't see this close either. Buffalo had a great game last week. Beating the Dolphins at home. But I'm sorry, it's not walking into New Orleans and beating the Saints. Just too much firepower there. That defense still shows up on weeks and doesn't show up on other weeks. Still some, dealing out of the second or third stretch quarterback there in Buffalo now due to injuries. I don't see this any other way but New Orleans torching them this weekend.
I see a lot of points for the Saints. I think Buffalo has scored 20 points or more in every game this season, which is an interesting statistic. But they're going into New Orleans now. They had some great defense last week, especially from Mario Williams, who's been playing great as of late. And Buffalo, but the New Orleans offensive line is much better than Miami's, and Buffalo's going to find it a little bit harder to get through to Drew Brees. And New Orleans defense is also, as I spoke about there a couple of weeks ago, New Orleans defense is much better this year than it has been in previous years. I see New Orleans in a big way as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Pittsburgh flies into Oakland to play the Raiders. And, Pittsburgh has been really malaligned this year. They've lost a lot of key players to injury. But I can't help but think Pittsburgh has started to right this ship, and Roethlisberger's playing a little better. And I think they can go into Oakland and they can win this in a squeaker.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a blowout either. Actually, I see a low-scoring game, but then again, last week with Dallas and Philly, I saw a high-scoring game. So this year in the NFL, you really don't know what's going to happen. Pittsburgh, I just think, is a better, certainly a great defensive team still. Oakland has not had a great defensive showing this year, and I see Pittsburgh winning this one by a touchdown.
Fair enough.
Cleveland, KC.
Next, the Flying High Jets are in Cincinnati to play the Bengals. The emerging Cincinnati Bengals, who are finally living up to the reputation that they so deserve. I think they're slowly becoming a front runner in that divisional race. And that's some pretty high standards. I don't think the Jets have everything it takes to go into Cincinnati and beat them, although I've been surprised by the New York Jets a couple of times this year already. But I think all things being equal, Cincinnati offensively and defensively certainly should be able to handle the Jets at home.
I agree. I think Cincinnati, their front seven is one of the best in the game, and I think that they're really starting to come into their own now. They're probably a favorite for that division at this point, and the Jets played a great game last week, and they're very well. Rex Ryan has been doing a very good job of coaching them this year. I'll help you out.
I didn't get a chance to get to it.
But overall, I just think Cincinnati is going to win this one. I think they're going to win it handily.
Okay.
I don't think the Jets are going to score very many points.
No,
in this
it's
game.
going to be
We skipped
D-O-W-N,
Cleveland.
down, down, down.
We skipped
Oh,
Cleveland,
yes,
basically.
yes, we did. We skipped that game. Here's one that I'm kind of scared of. I know that sounds really funny, but now we have the top of the league, undefeated, only undefeated team, the Kansas City Chiefs. Who would be saying that in Week 8 in the NFL? That's very impressive. Now, they've played a lot of rent-a quarterbacks over on that stretch. Still got to win 8 games. You still got to outscore your opponents, and you still got to play well offensively and defensively. But now they got Cleveland visiting, and there's a team that can come up and sort of bite you like a really, really bad snake. I think that this game, I think, is going to be closer than people are going to think it is. While I don't think Cleveland wins this game, I think they stay with them for 3 quarters and force Alex Smith and company to make good decisions in the 4th quarter, and they win this game, say, by a touchdown.
Yes, I do believe that Cleveland has a very good defense. Their pass defense is very good. Kansas City, however, at Arrowhead, it gets a bit loud there, and Brandon Weeden will not be playing this game. Jason Campbell will be taking over. I don't see Cleveland doing much on offense, but defensively, I think they can play well enough to hold Kansas City to maybe a 1-score game here. I like Kansas City though.
Kansas City, here we go. Next, we've got Atlanta going into Arizona to play the Cardinals. This is a Falcons team that I'm more used to believing in. I think that they've had some inflated season finishes over the last few years. They've never been a playoff team. They've never been able to put it together when it meant something, which meant to me that either their season was soft or there was some reason, it was just a good combination of luck. This team now humbled in a less than 500 season, still playing an Arizona team that can bite you even if they don't win a single game of the season. They're the team that can rise up and get you when you least expect them. But I gotta give credit where credit's due. I just think Atlanta is hungrier. I think they're going to go into Arizona. They're going to hold themselves into that game, and I think it's going to be close. But I think at the end of the day, Matt Ryan and company gets the job done in Arizona, and they win this. It could even be a field goal.
I agree. I'm going to call this to be a field goal game too, but I'm going the other way. I think Arizona's defense is underrated this year. I think that they have a fantastic rush defense, and Atlanta doesn't really have a rushing game. So Atlanta comes into this game, and they're going to be going to the air, and without Jones, and I think that Arizona at home can upset Atlanta in this one, if you want to call it an upset. And I think Arizona will win this game by field goal.
Okay, Atlanta's going to have to pound
On
the rock.
defense, they'll
They're going to
win.
have to pound the rock and play short posts. They're going to have to. They're going to have to. You know, the small yards after catch is going to be huge in this
Yeah.
game. The Arizona secondary is going to have to hold court.
It's going to be a game decided by turnovers.
Absolutely, apple and cherry and all those. Okay, we got Washington going into Denver now. Now this is totally changed in perspective now. When you think about the Washington Redskins, a team that I can only describe as something that's getting better every single week. That's just my take. They're finding ways to win. Roy Helu, had a huge week this week. 3 touchdowns on the ground. It looks like since the bye week, Griffin is a little better.
Yeah.
I think he had that chance to rest. The defense is slowly getting better, just like it did last year towards the second half of the season.
Yeah.
It peaked. And, you know, the likes of Kerrigan, Arakpo, London Fletcher, all of them doing their jobs. And I think while they're not going to beat Denver at home, I think Washington puts 24 points on the board against this Denver team at home.
I like that call. I think Washington is quite capable of putting that many points on the board against Denver. And Denver apparently has, Peyton Manning didn't practice today because apparently he has a bad ankle. But they wouldn't say which ankle it was, which is interesting.
I'd be more concerned about neck injuries with Peyton Manning at this point.
Yes, well, Washington too has not only their defense is stepping up. Last week they created some real trouble, and even though they gave up 41 points, they're responsible for a few key injuries on the Bears. Lance Briggs went down to injury, and that's a huge loss for the Bears there. The Cutler, what happened with him after?
Cutler has a pulled or tweaked groin.
Yeah.
So the timetable on him, not even sure on it.
Yeah, that was a real chippy game and very high scoring. And Washington is certainly capable of scoring some points on this. Denver defense is not looking as good now as they were in the first few weeks of the season. But Denver at home is very hard to beat.
When you score 500 points a game, you don't need a defense.
That's true.
So, but now the chinks are in the armor. You can see that this team is beatable given the right set of circumstances. And I do believe, just reminding you all about my Super Bowl pick this year, I'm picking Denver to go, but I'm picking them against this new team here in the next game that we have to talk about, the upstart Green Bay Packers, who are finally starting to put things together. And I'm picking Green Bay to win it all this year and beat Denver in one of the best Super Bowls we will ever see. So I'm just hoping that I'm peaking at the right time here as well. Green Bay at Minnesota. The Minnesota Vikings.
Christian Ponder at quarterback this week, again.
Yeah. Well, you know why they're purple, don't you? You'd be purple too if you choked for 50 years. I'm sorry. You know what? Josh Freeman, what were they thinking?
I don't know.
Well, actually, they made a statement. Hi, I'm Josh Freeman and I suck. And it was sort of like the Cedric Benson move from Cincinnati into Green Bay, and well, we all know what happened there. Green Bay on the road, they beat Minnesota. Interesting fun fact for you. If Adrian Peterson averages 200 yards on the ground, 199 yards on the ground for the rest of the season, he'll hit that 2,500 he promised.
Yeah, I don't think
it's
that's
been a
gonna
rough
happen.
year for Adrian Peterson by his standards.
I'm not even going to really talk about this one much. I'm
No.
just going to say it's Christian Ponder. He might be at home, but he's facing Aaron Rodgers.
Discount. Double check.
Yeah.
Hey, Rodgers.
Green Bay big.
Absolutely. And the Monday Nighter. The Seattle Seahawks fly into the Sam Bradford-less St. Louis Rams.
Well, watch out, because Kellen Clemens is that quarterback for this one.
I don't care if they have Clarence Clemens throwing the football. Don't care. Seattle is going to take St. Louis apart on Monday night. It's going to be so bad they'll be picking up body parts, and they won't let St. Louis play on Monday Night Football ever again. 30 points in the difference. This is a rout. Just saying.
I don't know if I'm going to call 30 points, but I'm definitely calling Seattle to win this game. And
I'm-
I'll also go as far as to say that Seattle is looking like arguably the best team out there right now. Well, of course, I'm going to go with my Broncos. But Seattle is looking very strong, both offensively and defensively. And Russell Wilson with 3 touchdown passes and no picks last week. These guys are looking good.
I'm not going to say 30 points. It's probably more like 20, but it's going to be right. I'm going to say, making the call, 31-13 Seattle.
I like it.
That's my call. That's the picks this week. We've in the past we've picked some players of the week, performers of the week. We've been out of the loop a couple of weeks now, so we're gonna stop here at the picks tonight. But I just want to remind everybody that we are seriously back. We're really, really thankful for everybody that comes out to see us every single week. And being out of the loop a couple of weeks, I'm sure there are people that have given up on the site, given up on things. We want you to know that we're in this till the end. We're staying with it. Had a little blip in the space-time continuum, and that'll become self-evident as to how we fix that over the next week or so. Next week, full I formation, full layout, maybe a few new surprises, certainly some news, and you'll have all our credits, you'll have everything back where it needs to be. We do thank you for sharing our links, coming to see us, and liking our page. Spread the good word, folks. Keep looking at our site. Follow us on Twitter. Certainly give us a like on Facebook, and a new YouTube channel now for all of our videos, which is the I Formation, which makes pretty good sense, John, doesn't it? So all of our picks, or all of our film is there from last year and this year. Come see us. Leave your opinions and anything that you want to do. You may want to see on the show. We also now have an email. We have theiformation@gmail.com if you want to leave any kind of words of encouragement. You have any suggestions for the show as you may want to see it change, or you just want to give us your thoughts. So that's our mini show for the week. I want to thank you again for coming out and seeing us. Watch this space. We're going to grow everything back to where we were, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Any thoughts?
Just thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for sticking with us, and we'll see you next week.